We are live on the Virtual Grip Network from one of the 13 original colonies, the beautiful state of South Carolina. Having traveled through this state, I can tell you they live and breathe for three things: God, college football, and NASCAR. And one of those needs are about to be met as we take our first dance of the season with the Lady in Black. But before we dim the lights and drop some Lionel Richie, let's go over what happened last week. Couple 100 miles north of I-81, the drivers saw their patience worn thin, with only 10 drivers finishing on the lead lap after a hard-fought 200 laps at the Martinsville Speedway. Tom Ogle finally brought home the checkered flag after weeks of coming so close. Can Mr. Ogle go back-to-back at the Lady in Black? Or will last year's lion tamer Josh Robinson be able to conquer the track too tough to tame? These questions and many more will be answered as we roll into Week 8 of the OBRL YesterYear Racing Cup Series. YesterYear, where past meets present. I'm Zach Chapman, a.k.a. Shaggy, along with my partner in crime, John Hine, and we're lucky enough to have the heartbeat of VGN bringing us all of the sights and sounds, the one and only Ryan Seneker. Located in South Carolina, the Darlington Raceway is one of those racetracks that has helped NASCAR showcase its talented drivers that have gone through the ranks with its kind of one-off shape. The racetrack was literally pieced together over the years in the early 1950s by two friends, Harold Brasington and Jay Ramsey, who owned a construction company. During the first year, they constructed turns 1 and 2, but Mr. Jay Ramsey saw a big problem, and he was worried that the construction of turns 3 and 4 would destroy his fishing pond, which, as John and I are going to talk about later, led to a unique turns 3 and 4. And now, John, I just mentioned the track is unlike any other these drivers will see all season. Now, how do you come into Darlington and walk away without a scratch?
You race the track, you don't race your competitors, and that's going to be a big theme through the night. You're going to be concentrating on that track a whole lot more than what you do your competitors. This track will bite you. That's why we call her the Lady in Black, or the track too tough to tame, which one you prefer. But yeah, this is going to be interesting. This is a high-speed track that, guess what? Guys are going to be shifting going over into turn 3. Turn 2, and getting out of that is also going to be tricky because that wall will just come out and grab you. But same thing for turn 4. So a lot of obstacles. There's not a lot of room to err. I know, when you watch it on TV, or even if you're going to watch it here, the track looks narrow, but trust me, it's even more narrow when you're out there and on the track than what it really looks like. You're threading a needle every lap. Very fine line that you got to take through there. So these guys, I got a feeling, are probably up to the challenge here. But watch for pit stops. Very, very difficult road to get on the pit road. But we've watched, it's kind of almost been a theme this year, getting on and off pit road. As one guy races, they've lost guys races. So watch for that with this pit road. It is really, really hard to get in and out of this track.
Yeah, and John, we've kind of seen throughout the season, these tires, they do have that kind of maximum fall off, but something a little different than the tracks that we've been to. These cars, they are going to slip and slide like no other track we've been to. And, normally we see guys possibly go a full fuel run. Do you think we're going to see that tonight, or are they going to be too tire limited?
Well, I know a few weeks ago we were talking about undercut and overcut. The speed when tires wear off are going to go way down. You can make up a lot of ground doing it, but you got to be careful. Guys like Josh Robinson, really get the most out of their tires. He did an overcut a few weeks ago that propelled him to the win because, when you do that and start playing that tire game, you've got X amount of laps to regain your time, or the tires kind of even off and yeah, you lose that advantage, so it takes about 20 laps to do it. This is a track that I think that will happen at, so we'll have to keep an eye on that for this race.
Yeah, and speaking of time, we're all out of time here. Qualifying coming to a close. We should see that starting lineup here.
Barely half the guys took a qualifying lap.
Yeah, it says a lot about how nasty they think it might get up there. I think, we'll go over that, but we do have some EOLs too. Definitely not going to help the cause, but let's take a look at that starting grid. The trash man coming on the pole, Daniel Hill to the outside, defending champion in the 23, Josh Robinson.
Starting third is going to be Tom Ogle, and next to him will be Chris Walsh.
Dwayne MacArthur to the inside of row 3. To the outside, James Hislop.
Courtney Nelson is going to roll off 7th. To his outside will be Andy Thomas.
Dave Matson to the inside of row 5. To the outside, Daryl Weininger.
Andrew Koska is going to roll off 11th. Next to him will be the 51 of Jerry Isaacs.
Bob Fellenbaum to the inside of row 7. To the outside, Fred Wolford III.
The double deuce, Bruce Pearson's going to roll off 15th and is number 22. Next to him is going to be the 74 of Alan Wanamaker.
Brian Lynch lines up on the inside of row 9. To the outside, Kelvin Monsieur.
Lee Wordstill is going to start 19th and is 99. Next to him will be the 05 of Tommy Amassi.
Scott Negus to the inside of row 11. To the outside, Lloyd Moore.
Sean Foltz and Don Easterlin are going to occupy 23rd, 24th.
Bill Martin lines up on the inside of row 13. To the outside, the GOAT, Clay Walker.
Eddie Jones is going to be 27th. Roger Hurley, 28th.
Inside of row 15, John Hastings to the outside, Michael Everhart.
Mark Schrader and Victor Lane's going to occupy the next row.
Crisco, Robert Guarisco to the inside of row... Oh, no, that's Mark Fish. I don't even know how to read. Mark Fish to the inside of row 17. To the outside, Brian Lindsay. Whoops.
Luke Lane will round out the field here, and we got a whole lot of folks that are going to go to the rear of the field here. Josh Robinson, who qualified P2, he's going to the back. Brian Lindsay is going to the back. So we got a few people that are going to the back here for penalties.
Yeah, and maybe not the worst track to get a penalty, John. We do anticipate a long green flag run. We always get one, but I got a feeling may have a caution or two to shake things up in the beginning. So just got to get a feel for your race car here. Put your head down and slowly pick them off.
Yeah, and again, race the track, not your competitors. That's going to be a big theme here.
Watch that pace car dive off as the drivers roll through 3 and 4 for the final time. 140 laps to dance with the lady in black. This is not going to be easy. Drivers going to have to be on their toes as the green flag waves. We're underway. Good start for the trash man here as he can slide right up in front of Josh and take that high side away if he wants. But battle on behind here. Tom Ogle, he has got that thing rolling, and man, that's what is that? Is that the Dale Earnhardt special inspired scheme there?
Looks like it. And real quick, I messed up. I looked at who issued the penalties, but Lloyd Moore, Clay Walker, Brian Lynch, Tom Foltz, Roger Hurley, Vic Lane, Luke Lane, and Bill Martin are the ones that all got the penalties.
Now we see one of those drivers who got the penalty here pulling out of the pits. I think is that Mark Schrader in the 82. He got his pit stop done. He's going to go a lap down as you see him there at the top pulling back up on the racetrack. But look at Kotska ready to get racy here. Matson in that 09 Navy machine, John, we've seen him have some good runs, and if you're a Dave Matson fan, knock on wood, man, because he has just not had the season that he wants to write home about. He's been involved in somebody else's accident almost weekly here.
Yeah, and this is it's never too early to turn that kind of luck around. You got to figure at some point your bad luck's going to run out and you're going to get a little bit of that good juju rather than the bad juju.
And that 83 of Dwayne MacArthur making moves. He's got a new scheme this week, too. I dig that.
Throwback,
thing, man. I'm loving this. Coming into Darlington with the throwback schemes, following the NASCAR tradition. Ah, man, who doesn't love that?
Yeah, I like seeing that Cabela's names. You know, when I go travel up north to our stores, Bass Pro and Cabela's now are one company, but it used to be two, but now they're one. And those Cabela stores up north are absolutely just gorgeous stores.
Yeah, we used to have a Cabela's in Chambersburg, actually. Remember going to that when I was younger? It's closed, but yeah, that's
we're in the process of. Yep, we're in the process of rebranding. I do believe by the end of the year, I think they'll all be Bass Pros. But the Cabela's brand will stay in place. You'll be able to come inside and still buy your favorite Cabela's products.
Yeah, and speaking of staying in place, you know, Crisco and Lindsay, they didn't get the message. They're up 9 and 10 spots. They're 23rd and 24th. Those guys are moving. And Lindsay, man, another one with a sweet retro paint scheme, running the Jeff Gordon-inspired Flames. Man, these guys, they put a lot of time. They deserve their praise.
Yeah, they sure do. And I mean, even a few of them have changed their numbers. Courtney Nelson's one of them. He's driving that Kevin Harvick throwback, one that kind of reminds me of that first win he got after Earnhardt's death there. And but he's got the 29 on it, so it's like a full-on retro stream.
They just want to make us earn it tonight, John. That's all it is.
We're just starting to get used to whose car looks like what. And a few of them just throwing us curveballs. That's okay. They're fun to look at.
Yeah, and Courtney Nelson, I think he heard us talking about him. A little early, but he just ran the fastest lap of the race, the 29.67 leader, running a 29.82. So he's trimming into that a little bit. But, you know, John, we're only on lap 8. I think you want to make sure you got a little left in the tank. As Kotska making the move under Madsen, he completes the job. That's been a couple laps in the making.
Yeah, you know, we talked about saving something. You know, they pole and they were qualifying in the 29.3s and 29.6s, and now they're already slowing down here a little bit to try to keep those tires under them.
Yeah, then we got Jeremy Mayfield looking to the inside of Jerry Isaacs. Gosh, man, that Mobile One scheme, these guys, phenomenal. I wish, you know, hopefully they add this on for one more fun night, because I am really eating these 90s NASCAR paint jobs up. It is taking me back.
Yeah, they do it. I don't know if they'll do it again for the next Darlington race. I can't remember if the real world counterparts do throwbacks on both of those weekends. I want to say I think they do, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, they're always cool to see. I was a little shocked that Chase Elliott was kind of bagging on him a little bit. Said they've kind of run their course and it's getting old. So I got to feel a lot of fans disagree with him.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Courtney Nelson, I don't think he agrees with being in 4th place. Here he goes, power move. Going to look to the inside, and Courtney Nelson going to drive on by, complete the pass. Going to get it done, and he made it look pretty easy. I think Dwayne maybe saw the writing on the wall there, John. He's one of those guys going to play the long game.
Yeah, you know, this early on with tire wear being what it's going to be, you know what? You wanna go use your stuff up, go right ahead would be my attitude. I mean, even behind those guys, you got Josh Robinson, who we know is quick. He qualified P2. I got a feeling he's just back there just biding his time.
And you know the deal, man. Momentum, it's huge in racing, and Tom Ogle, he's got it. He won last week. He's reeling in the leader. He is getting all over the back of the trash man. I think it's only a matter of time here before, you know, John, we don't talk about it too much. And is it as big of a deal in real life as it is in real life? Maybe not. But when you get behind that car, you do start to tighten up. You feel some of that air wash. And if you get right on the back of Daniel, you know, that's only going to hurt Tom. So I think if you're willing to get that close, you're thinking about making the move.
Yeah, you'd almost have to. You do get a little bit of aero push there, and more importantly, losing that downforce on the nose, you start to slide the front tires and put a lot of tire wear into it. But Everhart, we talked about him in that 71. He is parked in pit road, so I don't know. Early on here, first bit of attrition maybe happening.
Yeah, tough break. I wonder what happened to Titanium there. It didn't last too long tonight, but hopefully he can get that thing back out here. And
he is rolling back out. So maybe he got into the wall and had to come in and fix it.
Yeah, I'm going to try to cheat, use my iRacing a little bit. I can just see he pulls down to the inside of the racetrack, and I don't know, maybe having a little connection issues. I see him changing tires. He was blinking in and out a little bit.
Oh, maybe that one might be the case.
Yeah, maybe he wanted to go yell, hey, get off the internet, got a long way to go. And he knows the battle's heating up front. He don't want to miss it. As Tom's still tugging on that leash, but Daniel, he knows what we were talking about, John. He wants that clean air. He doesn't need to get behind. So I feel like Tom getting a little closer, but then Daniel just ups the pace a little bit. And, he's always got a little left in the bag, it seems.
Yeah, I would probably stay back a little further than that, but you can see through the corner. He's kind of diving down a little bit, so he is getting air on that nose. So I actually think as you go down the street, they're not really closing in there. I think he might be just content riding there for right now.
Yeah, no, John, now obviously if you're going to ride behind, are there ways that maybe you can adjust your corner entry, maybe a little lift and coast to save the front tires since you're taking advantage of that draft? Or is it just, you need to get out of the way? Can you help yourself out there?
No, you absolutely can. Lifting a little early, coasting in, that'll help you not overdrive the corners because, they are pulling you along. So if you lift at a normal point and you've got that draft, which you will get a little draft here, next thing you know, you're into that corner, coming in that corner a lot hotter than you want to be. And that's where you get those proverbial Darlington stripes.
And that 43 running the Under Armour machine, Kelvin Monsieur, he really stretched the fabric there coming off of 4 the last time. I saw Ryan caught it. He got so loose. What a save, something we didn't really talk about. I figured we'd dive into. You can see that huge transition, John, from the racing surface to the banking. When you're loose, how hard is that to gather up when you go down and clip that banking?
Well, here it's really hard because you just don't have a lot of track. The racing groove is only a couple of lanes, and you do it. It's so easy to oversteer back into the wall there a little bit, overcorrect it, and then back into the wall. But back when this track opened back in 1949 and through the 50s, that flat down there, that is where the track went. That's where they raced. That was all open game. And if you go back, watch old videos, those cats were all the way down there on the bottom of the track racing.
Oh, man, the asphalt slide jobs, I can only imagine how much fun that would have been to be back there back in the day. But you see the double deuce there. Just getting up high out of the way, saving some tires. Long, long way to go. And right now, I wanted to highlight, we'll end up getting back there, but our wonderful new overlay. Whenever we do get to the top of the order again, you're going to see 5 out of those top 6 are in yellow. They're already locked in the playoffs. The odd man out, Dwayne MacArthur, and he would love to put that paint scheme in victory lane and stamp his way into the playoffs. But John, you got all those guys around you, and we just talk about their phenomenal long-run pace. This isn't a shot at Dwayne, but when you're back there a ways, do you think about short pitting to make up some of that ground, or do you maybe an overcut? I just don't see an overcut here today at Darlington.
Well, I think it's going to be a matter of how you've treated your car and what your thoughts are and your driving style. But, Dwayne is, there's really not a whole lot of pressure on him. He's been running so good this season. He's been up in the front almost every race that we've been at, somewhere, around the 5-10. When you do that kind of stuff, chances are you're going to find victory lane at some point, So that takes a little bit of pressure off. It's when you're that far up, and it's the first time you've been that far up in like a month, and you're like, hey, here's my shot. That's probably when a little bit of pressure in your decision makings, come in there.
See there, Ryan did our required ad there for Pepsi. Had both the Mountain Dew cars on the screen, my favorite beverage of choice. Luke Lane in that Code Red machine working his way up. But, man, who do we got here? That 59. Whoa, car in the outside wall. That was a close one. I didn't get a number on that. I think that was Crisco there in the 28. There we go. Yeah. Finally found it. Took me long enough to hunt it down. Oh, man. And then he gets in the wall again. That was a hard shot for Crisco. Ryan, throw him back on the camera. When we get a look at that right front here, you're going to see he's got some damage. That was a shot in the wall. I mean, it threw him down.
Yeah, that'll create an issue getting in the corner. That'll increase tire wear if it's the steering wheel's still straight. So that could be a lot of problems down the road for Mr. Crisco or Garisco. But hey, the leader, just for the record, is catching lap traffic here. And you know what? There's really not a whole lot of places here you can run and hide to get out of the leader's way. So I think, lap traffic does become an issue. Man, that's close. This might be an interesting thing to watch.
I held my breath that whole time, John. I thought we were about to see something wild happening. Mark Fish, your Daytona 500 winner, he's definitely not trying to stay in the way. But as John mentioned, not a lot of racing surface. Where can he go? I mean, you've got to play nice with the lap cars. You got to take it slow.
Yeah, and nobody did anything wrong there. It was just, two guys that are going two different speeds of the closing rate and all that kind of good stuff. But I think you're going to see a little bit of a slide job here. Yep, a little slide job by the leader. Well, he didn't move all the way up. He stayed on the bottom there. And Victor Lane did a classy thing there and kind of lifted and let him have the corner.
You see he gets out in front of Victor. And, Victor, glad to have him out here, not racing at 100% tonight, but logging in the laps. And, this is, I know, people going to roll their eyes, John, but I say it once, I say it 100 times. These force feedback wheels and these racetracks, they can do a number on you. You
Yep.
feel it. You really do.
Absolutely. I raced a BRL race at Five Flags, and I actually did both of them on Saturday night. You know what I got done? Hot shower to kind of loosen the shoulders. Did a world of good.
See, trying to find good battle on the track here, but I think we're kind of at that spot where, guys, we're into that long green flag run, and when the tires start to go away, you're seeing guys, there we got one in the outside wall. Man, oh man, that Jim Beam machine, he does a good job, Walsh, of keeping it in the outside wall with really limited damage to that thing. It could have been a lot worse. And John, most importantly, didn't jerk it down in the racing line behind those two guys, or, in front of those two guys behind him.
Yeah, and I was playing around in these cars yesterday in an open server, and I'll tell you, I learned because I tried it. The watermelon man move does not work here. I thought it might, but not so much.
So we're not going to see any Herculean hails here to close out, we wouldn't think, but man, we're seeing more and more smoke there. You saw Crisco, that was him again, getting in the wall in that white ride, and you got to think that first hit about 3 laps ago, John, that's only making his handling worse. It's just going to push and push the longer we go.
Yep, and if you start banging against the wall a little bit, it's going to make it that situation even worse.
Well, let's take a look here. Here's our hard chargers at the moment. Got a couple guys up 10 spots. Let's go to the man in 14th, Don Easterlin. I mean, it's a pretty good run. And, John, you talk about literally racing the racetrack. He's got a 2.5 second gap in front of him and a 3.5 second gap behind him. He is on the literal Sunday drive here at Darlington.
Yep, and he can choose his pace at this point, choose his line at this point, and all that stuff favors stretching out either a fuel run or a tire run.
Now, John, I know how I am as a driver. I hate to admit it, but I'm way better in second place than I am in the lead. When you're out there driving, if you're Don right now, do you like having those guys out in front of you? You know, you can kind of see where you're getting beat, where you're, maybe messing up, or do you maybe overdrive too much and you like to have that windshield clear? What was your strategy out there?
For a track like this, I'm focused on the track, and I catch them. You start chasing the carrot out there, that's where your mistakes are going to happen, especially a joint like this. There's just not room for error, so you just need to focus on what you're doing, what your car is doing. Now, when you get to traffic, you've got to size them up. You just can't, send it off in there to try to make a pass or something like that. But you've got to, figure out maybe where you're best, where you can get that run, so then you can make that pass about as cleanly as possible.
So you see Lee Wursdale right now on the bottom of your screen, real small. It says pit stop. We haven't really highlighted that. That's something new too. So you're watching that bar. That's obviously, it's right now 46, 47. That's not your pit stop time. That is your total lost time in pit road. So you can do the math. Driving down pit road, good stop for Lee, and you're still losing, John, 54 seconds. That's a lifetime here at Darlington.
Yeah, but he's got to blow by folks like they're standing still for a few laps here. So he'll get some of that back, but he's going to lose it at the end when those guys got a little fresher tires. But I'm watching a lot of guys now. That tire wear must be becoming an issue because there's a lot of guys getting their Darlington stripes right now going through. I've seen about 3 or 4 guys here in the last couple of laps get up there and not just kiss the wall, but really get into it pretty good.
Yeah, and Kotska, I really like him right now. He's rolling the top on entries, trying to diamond off to find a way around defending champion Josh Robinson right now. But just seems like with those cars in front, we see another car getting back up on the racetrack there. Another one earning the stripe, and oh man, he almost climbed the hill and got back in it. But boy, this is war here at Darlington, and John, it's not with each other. It literally is, as you described. These guys are, man, they're just fighting the racetrack. This place is so unique.
Not just fighting the racetrack, they're fighting their cars now at this point.
And you see we're riding off the nose of your leader, the trash man, Daniel Hill, and no insult to the guys. Oh, you see bouncing, beating in front of him, John. Oh, man, that is not what you want to see if you're Daniel. You're about to come up on that mess, and oh, my gosh, that's 6-lane traffic coming out of D.C.
Yeah, and this is a point where I'd almost think about pitting if you're Dan, just to get away from those guys. But at the same token, those guys are all now racing with a sense of urgency because they know the leader's coming. Nobody wants to fall a lap down here. So, yeah, the big sense of urgency as our leader goes around, Mr. Garisco. Whoa, pretty close, off the wall a little bit. Got to keep on going here.
Yeah, that was close. And, I mean, Crisco, he's doing his best job. Oh, a leader bounces in the wall. And, John, we've all been there. You get racing around a lap car in this place, it'll trick you. You think both turns are the same. And, boy, oh, boy, that hairpin sneaks up on you, and you maybe hit the brakes a little later than you should.
Yeah, that minnow pond off of turn 4 there definitely has created some problems there track-wise. But the thing is, what it really is the driver, you're out there in clean traffic or clean track, and you kind of get into a rhythm, then you catch these guys, and it completely throws you out of your rhythm. So you miss maybe your braking point, your lift point, your shift point. We haven't really talked about it yet, but these guys are shifting going into turn 3, and you miss that point, that can cause some problems for you through 3 and 4.
Yeah, right now on your screen, you're looking at 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. I mean, after 42 laps, green flag, they're this close. It's unbelievable, They've all got here different ways. We kind of saw Courtney push the envelope early on, maybe paying the price now, coming back to these guys, while guys like Andrew Kotska just paces his way through the field, man. I've never seen him lose that pace. But right now, if you're Dwayne MacArthur, I think you got to make that move sooner rather than later because you got some hungry dogs behind it.
Yeah, and the whole thing of getting your tires out, and Zach, you've seen me do this on the road side of things. If I'm trying to get to a fuel number, you watch a stop clock and you start listening to that crew chief give you your lap times, and if you can really manage that stuff by hearing the lap times. And believe it or not, if they come over the radio and say you just did a 29.9, you just went probably a little too fast and probably used a little bit of your tire equity up. But if you want to say, look, I need to be right at the 30, 31, the 30.1, mark. Then you try to drive and you try to hit that time every single lap, and that's a great way to try to manage your stuff.
Yeah, and that was a big move there from MacArthur to get into 30. Saw the mistake from Courtney Nelson in front, went up, sucked some side draft coming out of the corner, and John, you know how unstabling that can be to the car, and Courtney kind of had to back out of it. Now Josh Robinson maybe pulling one out of the same playbook, goes real close in there on the left rear. Robinson feathers a little bit, man. Nelson, that car is just going away from him here. A little more contact. Man,
into the
wall.
Into the wall and then a crossover. Only at Darlington.
You're not kidding.
Back in.
Only at Darlington, kept it straight, kept it pinned, and just trying now at this point to keep toe with those guys. But I can tell you, since getting around, my eyes passed the test there. MacArthur, he's kind of opened up the can a little bit, and I think he saved some tires. Going to have to keep an eye on this guy. I think he's going to be a long runner.
Yeah, but, they've got enough wear in them now that when they do come up on these lap guys, it's not just, hey, pull down to the inside and drive around them. They're trying to get around. Their cars are a handful, too, and that really is going to up the chances of a caution.
See his lap there on the outside. Easterlin on the bottom, and gonna get it done, it looks like. Or no, that's not. Is that Easterlin? No, that's Chris Walsh. I don't know how to read. And Chris Walsh, that was a good move on the bottom, and
got a battle for third.
Old tires.
Josh Robinson got right up to the back bumper there of MacArthur coming out of turn 4. So Robinson is significantly faster, but I do believe people are starting to dive down pit road. We just saw Courtney Nelson bang it off the wall and really stretched and trying to get a hold of his car. So these stops are happening now, 48 laps in.
Yeah, and you got to think 148 laps. I mean, that basically cut that thing in thirds there. Maybe a little over than what he needed to do. But if you're Courtney and the car's going to start to go away, you got to think that is the perfect time for a pit stop. You just got to hope, John, that a guy like Kotska doesn't think he can one-stop this thing again and really milk that set of tires. That would throw a wrench into your plans.
Yeah, it sure would, but I think the fall off is going to be such that I don't know that it would. I think you'd lose the time on track to pull that strategy off.
And we're seeing, obviously, lap cars doing a nice job of getting out of the way for your leader, Daniel Hill. But, John, you and I, we've been in second more than we'd like to admit, probably, instead of being out front. And you're that second guy coming up on the lappers. Do you get treated any different? You maybe get by a little easier?
Well, yes and no. It's funny. How easy things go on the track all depends on you a lot of your relationships with other drivers. Do you have the respect of other drivers? If you come up on somebody, you might have rattled his cage, let's say last week. Well, that pass is not going to be as easy, even though it's going a lap down. So there's a lot of factors into it. I mean, most guys in here are pretty courteous, and I haven't really seen a whole lot of that. But as a leader, you don't want to go that lap down. So sometimes you might see guys fight the leader just a little bit harder, and for no other reason than that.
And, I think a guy we're seeing maybe feel that pressure, driving a little harder than he wants. Brian Lynch just slapped the wall pretty good in front of your leader, and Daniel Hill doing a good job of letting him gather it back up here. He kind of had to back off the throttle a little bit, but he's going to make his move here now, and I think there Brian respected the fact that he let him save it. It was just like, go ahead and go by, man. That could have been a rough one for the Smoky Moonshine 9.
Yeah, I love that Smoky Moonshine, too. They got a cherry one that's got cherries in it and everything else. Ooh, buddy, you can make a good drink with that stuff.
You know me, man. I'm the awkward guy, and I'm telling you, they have a good pickle flavor as well, John. I like the pickles stuff.
What are you, pregnant? You don't know who the father is?
Hey, man, I'm just saying, you know, I'm into what I'm into, and those
Hey,
pickles, man.
we don't judge. We don't judge. You're at a racetrack. It's a safe place.
Well, look at that. Josh Robinson trying to make the move here and get that 23 back on the podium. Xander Kotska right there as well. So it's a situation, John, you know, it's a lot easier seen on dirt. But right now, when you've got 3 guys in line, Josh kind of, you know, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do you go down and use the unpreferred line and maybe open the top for Kotska to get around? Or, you know, do you ride patient and wait for that guy in front to make a mistake? Because he's clearly got pace, but just tough to find a way around.
It is, and they're being real careful with each other here, and nobody's making any kind of big moves. And you know, it might be, hey, you look, I'm going to pit in a lap or 2. So you know what? Why make a risky move when you're going to pit anyway? You know, there's a lot of things to consider here.
Sean Foltz has that 59 machine. Almost up inside the top 10, up 12 spots. Got a pretty good run go. Oh, look at that. That's what the new tires do for you, John.
Yeah, yep. They made it look easy. And you know, Courtney Nelson was the first one to pit, and I forgot where he pitted from, what position, but it'll be really interesting. I think he had just gotten passed by MacArthur and Robinson. So when these cycle through, you know, we'll have to revisit and see where he is, as you know, in relation to those 2 guys.
Yeah, I think, you know, the closer we get to lap 70, though, the scarier, you know, you got to get if you're Courtney Nelson. Because if they can push it to lap 70, that is in the one-stop territory. And I just don't know if Courtney wants to go, you know, almost 100 laps on this set of tires or even can. So going to be tough for him. And with the way we've seen these guys run, this is a compliment. I don't know if we're going to get a caution.
No, and that's going to be one of the things. He's got to pray for a caution here. And man, those new tires, it's amazing watching. Oh, we got a battle now. Robinson, Kotska's looking at the inside of Robinson. He's going to follow the lap car.
Yeah,
MacArthur slams the door. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, did you see Kotska? He had to back out of that throttle, John, and you talk about all the time having to adjust your line. Oh, my God, that thing looked like a snake coming through the middle of the corner, slithering around.
Yeah,
he was able to catch it.
He needs to send a thank you card to Josh Robinson, because Josh is the one that actually cut him a break right there. Wow, and those guys are, I don't think they're happy with each other. They're leaning on each other as they go down the front stretch.
Yeah, you know, Josh maybe not a big fan of the move, using the lap car as the pick, but sometimes you do what you got to do.
And well, I don't think it's that. I think it's when he pulled up there, and I think Robinson might come to the pits, or he got really loose. But I don't think Robinson appreciated him trying to get in between MacArthur and himself there, because there wasn't a lot of room to do that.
Yeah, I just don't know if he meant to do it. You know, I think it's more or less of an oh crap situation, but man, that is
yeah, sometimes when the tires are that worn and you do, and that goes back to what I was talking about, how aggressive you want to be, because you know, if you're that aggressive, sometimes the tires will dictate where your car goes, and you don't. So that's always something to be careful about. Yeah, we have some news here in our ear. Tom Ogle has inherited. Yeah, Tom Ogle has inherited the lead, and the trash man has disappeared.
That's why I was actually, my apologies to everyone out there, but as
his quality is down. He's gonna have. Well, we're gonna have to chalk that up to engine problems there for the 7 car.
And that's a huge deal there, you know. I mean,
he's already qualified, so he's at least got that in the bank there.
Most definitely. But now, you know, if you're MacArthur there, all of a sudden, John, you're P2. Your name isn't yellow. How hard do you drive to make that name yellow? Because it is right there, man. You can taste it. You're just
got a long way to go. Got a long way to go. You can't get too excited. You just got to keep your head down and keep turning laps. Yep, and they just came through through the iRacing. The packet loss for the trash man there, and like I said, you chalk that up. That's the equivalency of an engine car. We'll just say his engine blew or had some mechanical issues. We'll see if he comes back and gets it back on the track for points or not.
Yeah, and you know, we've all been there, man. It's no fun, but we've been in endurance races, John, where it's kicked me out, and then it sends our car back to the pits, so we have to wait for the tow time, and it's just the realities of racing on the net sometimes. Can't really blame anything. It's just one of those, it is what it is, but it opens the door now for a couple other drivers who, you know, Tom, he had some good pace. He was able to hang around, but couldn't find a way around. Now this thing is absolutely wide open.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm sure Dan feels the same way right now, but that kind of stuff only happens when you're running well. When you're running like a turd in the back of the pack, those connections always stay good. It's when you're up front and, you know, chomping at the bit to maybe score a win or a really good finish, and that's when they always seem to go south, at least for me.
You aren't kidding. What I would have done for a packet loss Monday night when I lost the draft and that ARCA series we're going to talk about later, man. That is, I was walking the dog out there. That was no fun. But, man, some of these guys, they're having fun holding on to these race cars. I don't know how they're still doing it. 65 laps on the same set of tires. It looks like we're going for a one-stop, John. It's a Formula One race. We've got some people on the two-stop and some on the one.
And Courtney just passed the 23 of Robinson here. So I think Robinson's going to come out, but he's going to have that new rubber, and Courtney's now going to have some used tires. So, boy, I can't wait to see how these guys shake out after this pit stop cycle.
I mean, he is just absolutely cutting his way on through, going to drive right by. And, you know, it just speaks to those other drivers, John, because when you got a plan, their mentality to just be able to stick to it, because I know the racer in me, when I watched a guy with new tires just drive by me like that, I'd be complaining to come down pit road.
Yeah, I would be too. But, you know, if you stay disciplined here and you work your plan, you just never know. And the thing is now, it's going to be, if we get a light caution or something like that, it's going to really change the dynamics now, because with these guys being one-stoppers, that's really going to hurt Courtney in that fact.
And Josh Robinson with a big send there to clear that lap where he went up and kissed the wall, but he was able to close the gap now to Dwayne MacArthur. And, you know, Josh, we've seen him close this gap a couple times, but it seems like they keep catching lap cars at inopportune times. While he's got this clean air, he's got to go for the move.
Yeah, and here's my concern too, going back to, you know, talking about Robinson and MacArthur. MacArthur's holding Robinson up. He needs to be making time as opposed to, you know, Courtney with the new tires and all that. So while I commend them for being patient here, you know what? I think I want the time on the track. I don't think I want to be being held up this long.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. And, we just got word.
Yeah.
Ahead,
I was going to say all the inclement weather around, and man, I hope all is well with Hill, but it looks like he's got a power outage. So we're not going to say that was a plug wire that came off. That engine blew spectacularly.
Yeah, and I want to highlight too, John, we were talking about that time on the racetrack. Josh Robinson got by MacArthur four turns ago, and he's got him by a second.
Yeah,
I mean, he needed to go.
Yeah, and how long has he been following him now? I mean, you're talking, you know, if he's been holding him up a second, you know, half a second a lap.
MacArthur down pit road.
Yeah, you've been behind him 10, 15 laps, and that's a lot of time on the track.
So he was running in third place. MacArthur coming down pit road. This could be the time. We're right at halfway. You know, I don't really see the advantage, John, in going any longer. I mean, if you're out there on the racetrack, you need to hurry up. You need to come in there and get those tires.
Yeah, I would think so. I question that. Josh stayed out a couple times ago, a couple races ago, and he ended up winning by staying out longer than everybody else. Those new tires just really killed those guys. So whatever advantages they got, Josh was able to reel it back in here. So my only concern is how long he spent behind MacArthur at this point. So, man, let's see how long he does stay out there, though. A lot of guys are coming to pit road now, including the leader.
Pay attention to MacArthur's time. So 52.7, that's the benchmark. Just one of those guys up towards the top. You want to get in and out quicker than that. That's where you're going to see a lot of time lost or maybe a lot of time gained. And the leader goes around one more time, John. He drives it into turn one. Another lap without pitting.
Yeah, like I said, a couple of races ago, I don't know if it was Phoenix or not Phoenix, but Las Vegas or where it was, I was questioning how long he stayed out, and boy, he proved me wrong and won the race. So, you know what? Josh is a two-time champion. You know what? There's no way I'm questioning him. Oh, and there's a guy Bill, the 18 there is having a hard time getting to pit road. That's going to kill. That's a lot of time wasted getting to pit road.
You got to wonder if Josh may be hoping for somebody to have some trouble getting on pit road, maybe loop it and bring out a caution. I mean, that would really help him out. He'd have the field trapped multiple laps down. I mean, that would be an unreal gift for the 23, and that's something the rest of the field sure as heck doesn't want to give him.
No, he doesn't need any kind of advantage.
Courtney Nelson, though, John, what's interesting, he's back in P2, and he's not even a lap down. So he is going to inherit the lead, and we may be at a point where if Josh stays out too long and we get a caution in about 5 or so laps after his pit stop, Josh may be stuck a lap
coming
down
to pit
at this
road.
point.
Robinson to pit road.
He heard us. He needed to get in there. Courtney really kind of forcing the issue now. Because like I say, Josh is on the winning race strategy, I think. I don't think either of us are going to disagree with that. But right now, Courtney could throw a wrench in that by putting him a lap down and getting a caution flag.
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to get around because Courtney is just now coming into turn 3. I don't know that he's going to get him a full lap down, but it's going to be real close. And when he does come out, Courtney's been on those tires for 20, 30 laps. Josh is just going to either run him down if he does go a lap down, or he's going to pass him. He's going to have a real easy time passing him. Well, he's just getting into his pit stop. Courtney went by, so maybe he will get him a lap down.
He overshot his pit stall, John. I'm watching Josh.
Oh, no.
He had to back up, so that's not going to be a bunch of time, but we know that will add time. He overshot the pit stall.
Yeah, I still contend that his biggest issue is probably being behind that 83 car. But Courtney is coming out of turn 4 right now, and doesn't look like he is going. Well, maybe he will get him a. No, he's not going to get him a lap down.
And MacArthur with the short pit, John. Same with Kotska. They both work themselves around Josh Robinson, who pulls his way up onto the backstretch. He is going to have to press his tires here if we stay green. But he's going to have to climb that hill, man. He's got to strap up the boots.
Yeah, and take note of it. He's about a corner ahead of the 29 car on the screen, but of Courtney here. So we're gonna watch here, see how long it takes him to get, if he can get back to him.
Yeah, interesting. Courtney Nelson last time by he ran a 30.42, John. The guy's on new tires. 29.7s, 29.8s. It's only a matter of time at that pace.
Yeah, that's Robinson ran a 29.7, but he's behind lap traffic here. So you got to stop and think. Half a second. We're running 29-second laps. I told you about the tires equaling out though, and that I would be concerned about that here. And that much time, that might happen.
Yeah, especially on a racetrack where we've seen guys have to lift out trying to make a pass on the bottom. If that guy just holds the center groove, rolls the top side on exit, he is tough to get around unless you're maybe willing to use those fenders up. And in a race that's gone 80 green flag laps, nobody wants to be that guy here, John.
No, it's been a fantastic start of the race here. I definitely would have not predicted that they go this far in without a caution. That that a lot of guys that have caution free on their bingo card are going to be smiling here if we can pull this off.
Unbelievable. I literally have been treated to the best afternoon of racing. I call that afternoon dirt. 80 green flag laps, 2 cautions at Lima Land, and then I come here and I get 80 nonstop green flag laps. I cannot ask for more. I mean, these guys just do better and better, and look at how close they're racing. Man, trying to pull that thing to the inside. That's all going on behind his lap. I can't see a number yet. We got Lynch, and then I think Negus. You know, we talked about Negus, John. We need to one more time. Congratulations on getting the number right, Scott. We owe you.
Yep. I don't know if that's more of an indictment on Scott or us that can't, look at a paint scheme and who's who. But, that does help us. So, yeah, we got to thank Scott for that.
Hey, Sean Foltz, he's one of the guys, John, Don Easterlin as well, that did that early pit stop that Courtney Nelson did, and they find themselves in the top 5. They just need that timely caution to fall. And you got to think, all right, John, with the tire sets we get, they've got 2 in the bank still. Even with 10, 15 laps green flag, do you think if you're Josh Robinson, you get a caution, you're going to pit? I mean, I think that's a little more important than track position, right?
I think you're going to do what others around you do. Because of my skill level, I always want fresh tires on a track like this.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think, especially those guys who, they've been running up front every week. You got to kind of trust your skill to get you there and make sure, you put yourself on the best playing field. You don't want to go out there wounded, and fresh set of tires going to help the cause. But Tom Ogle running around in 3rd place. He is cut the gap down to Jerry Isaacs to 5 seconds, who's 5 seconds back of Courtney Nelson. But we're seeing the battle heat up there, John. Well, Ryan clicked away from it. I'll send him back. There we go. Kotska, he pit a few laps earlier than Josh, but Josh using those tires, here he comes.
Yep. Big advantage here, and you just need a few laps here. But now remember, these guys got into it a little bit a little while ago, so be interested to see how they race each other here.
Yeah, definitely, especially both guys running very similar lines right now, kind of diamonding the exit of the corners. So both guys fighting for the low side, and when Josh inches closer here, we may see some sparks fly. Yeah, he's got a big-time run here. Going to keep the pedal to the floor, but he's got to back out. Knew he didn't have enough momentum to make the move. And Kotska, you can tell he's looking up in that mirror. He went down to protect just in case.
Yeah, I think Josh is seeing how much of a run he can get to time it out.
Yeah, and I hate to sound like a broken record here, John, but you got a lot of cars in front of you. How long? You can't keep testing yourself. You can't keep experimenting. You're going to beat up those tires. Yeah. You got to make the move. And Hislop trying to get up out of the way here in the 92. He's got to run his own race, so these guys, they're having to work for it here. And Josh maybe taking advantage, getting some draft off the top, going to send it in, but just couldn't time the pass there. Can't make it 3 wide.
Yeah, and these guys are still running 30 zero weights here, and the leader's at a 37. So now even that time difference is more pronounced. 0.7 of a second a lap. They are catching the leaders quick.
See here, Jerry Isaacs, he's another one. He's had a couple good runs. He's on that different tire strategy, running around P2. And I had mentioned he was 5 seconds off the leader. Well, he's out there on older tires too, but he's trimmed it down to 3.4. He's slowly reeling in the leader, and man, he's another one. Got some good pace, maybe a timely caution. And Jerry Isaacs could be standing in victory lane, but it's not going to be easy. Going to need a lot of help here. Still plenty of time, though. 50 laps to go this time by, John.
Yeah, and Zach, remember, Courtney pitted around lap 48, I think, somewhere right in that range. And you remember how evil his car was handling at that point? Well, he's getting to the point now where he's got that 40 laps on. He's going to be close to being where he had run the tires off before, it looked like. So he might continue to slow here, which, right now he has got to be praying for a caution.
Yeah, absolutely. He pit on lap 47, Isaac's on 48. So those guys, they are going to start feeling it here as we get closer and closer to lap 100. And we got to move. Andrew Kotska thought about it. Has to go up, though, if you can't complete it. That's what I talked about, John. When you're that middle car in a 3-car pack, you got to be quick. You got to be decisive, or you're going to find yourself the odd man out.
Yeah, and, we talked about at the top of the show too about racing the track. This track is really mentally taxing because you've got to be so on point every time, every corner, every lap. Going caution free, these guys are going to be tuckered out at the end of this race. I promise you that.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, that is just a fight to remember. And I'm telling you, when you're in the race car too, I mean, obviously the start finish line, it does help you a little bit. But this place is you're going down these front stretch, back stretch, they look so similar that I mentioned it's so easy to miss that breaking point. You just zone out, maybe focus on the car in front.
Lap traffic, look at that. Oh
man, the fish. And I think, this is where Josh Robinson may go back and show Kotska what you do there. Did you see how polite Robinson was? We had that mistake. He didn't go up there, force it, try to use it as a pick. He just let it off, let him gather it. But, man, that's not what you need when you're trying to run down the leader with 50 laps to go.
Yeah, man, that's a situation there where Robinson basically saw a wreck in front of him and didn't want to be a wreck on a wreck. And, man, I don't know how they all made it.
Ogle made it look pretty easy there, made the pass for P2 over Isaacs, and got that 11 machine rolling. 5 seconds to Courtney Nelson, and man, oh man, when they roll by here, just watch that gap just drop. I mean, it's like the stock market there. Just 4.7, 4.6.
Nelson is praying for a caution here.
You might need to do a little more than that here as I see Nelson. He's coming down pit road, John. 3-stopper for Nelson. He saw the writing on the wall. He is going to come down. He says, I'm going to live or die by this. Or, 2-stopper, excuse me. He's going to live or die by this, and I just don't know. I don't think he's going to be able to make up that track position.
No, he's going to be out there. He'll be about 4 or 5 tenths quicker than the rest of the field. So, I mean, it's gonna pay off in some respects, but, man, if these guys don't stop, I just don't know if it'll make up that big of a difference. But we'll have to see. I mean, I'd never say never. Wow, those guys in front of MacArthur, those lap guys are really not doing these guys 4th, 5th, and 6th any favors.
No, and one of them sprinkled in there is that 59 of Sean Foltz, who currently is P2, but he's another one. He pit on lap 55. Those are some old sneakers, and bounces off the outside wall there. Got the 77 to the inside. And what do you do here? 77, a lap down. Oh, clearly quicker than Foltz, who goes in there, gets in the outside wall. Oh, he goes down, shuts the door here, but, man, he's got 3 quick cars coming in. We got Courtney pulling up on the racetrack. Man, oh, man, get your popcorn ready.
Yeah, now watch what Courtney does here. Look at, cold tires even, and look at that. Yeah, he doesn't have to worry about those guys, and he's just going to drive off for them.
And I think the important thing for Courtney right now, you got to find a way to get by guys like Negus, Lynch, Hurley. I mean, those are your targets.
Nelson's got a wreck.
Yes, he is.
Wow, into the wall hard. That's game over for him. He's not going to be in contention here no matter what. That was a hard hit.
Yeah, no caution flag because he was able to keep it straight. But yeah, just, we were just talking, John, he needs to be the lucky dog here in case there's a caution. And, man, pushing the car too hard, cold tires. He just couldn't catch it.
He needed the caution. He just didn't need to be the caution.
Man, that's a tough break as we roll up to the century mark here, lap 100, and battle's still on. Robinson and Kotska, man, they have been going at each other all race. Robinson stayed out longer, went the long route on the pit strategy, and now he's got the tires. But, man, we're just seeing track position so important.
Yeah, and, the leader right now just went by the start-finish line. So, these guys are still a few seconds behind there. So, I talked to Josh on the podcast a week or two ago, and he was telling me, even though the guy's way out there, you've got to stay disciplined to run your race and run your pace, and that's what paid off for him on the last time he did this. So, man, it's going to be close here to see. I mean, we're talking 40 laps, but that's not a whole lot of time if they continue to click off caution-free.
Absolutely not. And Kotska made a mistake the last lap, got in the outside wall, allowed Robinson to get down low, didn't want to put up too hard of a fight. And I think if you're Robinson, if you've got any dreams of winning this thing, John, you can't waste any time at all. You've got to get around the 83. You are a ways back looking at these guys.
Yeah.
They're 12 and a half seconds. I don't even know if they can do that without a caution.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if he wasn't behind MacArthur for as long as he was prior to that pit stop, I bet you that distance would be half of what it is now at the very least.
You can see they're still behind those lap cars that you had mentioned, John, I want to say about 6 or 7 laps ago, so it hasn't been easy.
No.
You're talking about that, you mentioned it multiple times, but I think we've hit that stage where, the tires have kind of leveled off, and those guys on that similar pitch strategy, whether it be only 4 or 5 laps difference, you're just not seeing that payoff. And now
There goes
Josh
Robinson.
Going to make me eat those words. He's going to take a peek.
Yeah, he's going to need that run to get around him, but he's not going to get it there as they're approaching that Bill Elliott throwback screen. That's kind of what that car looks like.
Yeah, and MacArthur able to use him to get around there to perfection, had him as the drafting help going down that last straightaway. Josh couldn't really finish that run, and man, Dwayne,
look at the distance between MacArthur and Robinson close corner. Robinson is just so much stronger in the corners. Here comes Jerry Isaacs. That's got a look of fresher tires on that 51 car.
Yeah, he's on that 2-stop pit strategy, and you got to think now if you're Josh, you know what you got to do here, John, right? You got to try to get as close as you can to Isaacs and follow him around.
Use his draft.
Gonna go down. He just couldn't make it work, man. The tires just won't stick. And, oh, boy, that's tough if you're Josh. You saw your chance kind of slip away there. MacArthur doing such a good job there rolling the center of the corner off. Josh picking up the throttle a little too early. Can't maintain the speed coming off that the 83 has. And it's, Josh goes in there. I thought we were going to get a little bump and run, John.
Yeah, that closing gap corner entry there is huge. I've been watching that for a couple laps.
Yeah, I'll tell you what,
and guys, Zach, I'd mentioned to it too. MacArthur, 13-something seconds behind last lap. This one's 14, so he is losing ground. Robinson, if he wants any shot at this, he's got to get around him now.
You're exactly right. And, the frustration, I think, starting to settle in. He's playing nice, but he sent him that bumper, just letting him know, hey, this is the pace I have, and maybe we might see it come one more time here. But got to play nice, but you know as well as I do, John, this place and where we're going to next week, Bristol, kind of known for the bump and run here.
Also known for if you've ruffled somebody's feathers, that's a great place to have an oops moment and get a little revenge.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect point. So if you're Josh, you got to play nice here because you're going short track racing next week as Josh pulls up to the side, trading a little paint.
That's going to open up for Kotska.
Yeah, Kotska, big run on the top shelf. Welcome back to the top 3. And now, if you're Kotska, you just saw how hard that was for the 23. What do? Do you ride in P3 or do you make your move?
You got to make your move. If you feel like you can track that leader down, and now you're talking, time is critical. You've got to go.
Takes a peek there. Couldn't drive it in as deep as he would have liked. Just doesn't have that grip. And MacArthur, he is doing a perfect job. Just kind of rolling that center of the corner. Like I said, leaving off high. And there's just nowhere for these two to go. They are just stuck in the bottle.
Yeah, and to MacArthur's credit, it isn't like he's out there trying to block. He's not mirror driving. He's just driving his line. Here comes Koska. It's like these guys get down here and they have to stay pinched. Oh! Whoa. Wow.
Kotzka drove it in there, was going to try to use that lap car on the high side as a pick. You can see that 10 get up and out of the way, but the contact behind wasn't going to have the pass this time. But,
yeah, and to Koska's credit, though, he realized real quick that that was going to be an issue, and he was able to get out of there and not hit him where it wrecked him. That was really, really close, though. You got to give Koska some credit for not wrecking him there. He did recognize that early enough.
Oh, absolutely. And, I see nothing wrong with trading paint at all. He didn't turn the guy, go up there, just ruffle him a little bit. And if anything, Kotzka's the one who pays the price, falls back to fourth. And I think if you're MacArthur, you maybe felt a little more comfortable with Kotzka behind you. I mean, you didn't like the contact, but we've seen how quick this 23 car is. And
yeah, I can't figure out why he can't. I just don't know why he can't. I mean, the tires must be really equalized that far because he is significantly faster than MacArthur. Remember last time when he got around him? He put a second on him in like 2 laps.
Yeah, and I don't mean to keep. We're not harping on MacArthur by any means, but just
he's doing exactly what
he's
doing exactly what he's
16 seconds now, John. And every time
that's a back corner for him. Here comes Robinson. He's got to have a good shot down here in 3 and 4.
Yeah, and this is where, though, if you're MacArthur, you got to make him drive it in deep. You got to make him get uncomfortable on the bottom.
Oh, he's going to get a good run off the top.
Yes, he is. And, oh, man. Oh, he clips the wall a little bit.
Yeah, that's going to keep Robinson there.
Close. Yeah, he pulls some side draft. But, man, mission impossible here on the bottom right now.
Yeah, and Koska's driven right back up to these two, so you know that 83 car is kind of the cork on the bottle. Here comes Robinson. That's the best run he's had. I think he's going to get him here.
He's got to. This is the time. He's got to slide up in front. You got to get aggressive. He does. I think
MacArthur gave up the ghost there.
Yeah, now if you're Josh, you're just praying to the gods here. We need a yellow.
Yeah, and that was smart by MacArthur. Rather than fight him, he probably could have fought him a little harder on that. But I think that would have opened the door for the 40, and he would have lost another spot. But Foltz is behind him, I think, with fresher tires, too. So he's going to be pretty eager to get around these guys.
Yeah, and, we've seen guys do it before. I think if you're Kotzka, you got to let this 59 around and try to use him to get around MacArthur because you can see, it hasn't been the distance that we saw the last run, but Robinson, he's gone, John. He's checking out. Yeah,
he sure is. But you look at the gap. Now you think of all that time behind him. 15 seconds 15.6 seconds now. Last time the difference between him and Ogle. Be interesting to see how far he cuts that down here when he goes by.
Yeah.
He 3/10. Yeah. He's gonna look back here and maybe wish he probably could have gotten around MacArthur a little bit quicker.
Yeah, and a guy like Robinson, not that some other guys don't have it, but he clearly is one of them. If he could have saw that carrot being dangled in front of him, he'd get 4 or 5 tenths out of it if he needed to. He is one of those guys that can absolutely push the race car to the limit, but right now, track position and maybe pitting those 4 laps later than these guys coming back to haunt the 23.
Yeah, 0.3 of a second. He needs to almost get a second a lap at this point. At least, almost, maybe 3/4 of a second a lap here. So, it's not just to get to him.
Yeah, and we saw how difficult it is to pass, and this is a case, too, where Josh, he wants to go, but right now he's got a lap car behind him with better tires. You've got to time this, though, if you're Josh. You can't just let him by. You don't want to lose that time on the racetrack.
Yeah, and once again, he's 0.2 of a second faster than Ogle that last lap.
We're coming up to, we'll have 20 laps to go next time by here. So we are absolutely running out of time. And Josh just watching the sand fall out of the hourglass while Tom Ogle, man, I talked about it in the intro. Could he go back to back at the Lady in Black? And man, a little motor issues for the trash man, Daniel Hill. That might be all Tom Ogle needs to go back to back, John. The laps are, we're clicking off. There it is, 20 to go.
Yeah, and not to root for a caution, because now I'm rooting for these guys to go caution-free at Darlington, man, which would just be completely awesome. But letting that caution right about now really jumble things up.
Oh, man, you're not kidding. Like I say, I'm right there with you. Caution-free, that would be amazing. But, man, to have these guys going and throw some fresh sneakers on and do a 10-lap shootout would be pretty amazing, too. We got a lot of good guys at the front of this thing.
Somebody needs to throw a roll bar padding or a water bottle out of the window to bring a caution out.
Couldn't tell who that was. That was Crisco. He's okay now, but while we were talking about it, he did bounce into the wall again. I thought we were going to have another one. It's his car, it's pushing on him. It has gone away, but doing a good job of keeping the wheels under him, keeping it straight. He's had a couple close calls tonight. This track, John, we've talked about it. It really amplifies your mistakes. So the fact that he's been able to keep it rolling and keep it going says a lot about it.
Yeah, it's we're kind of stretched out now, with the top three. It looks like Robinson's run one way. Koska's fallen off here a little bit. But, we probably should have Tom Ogle on, focus on him for a minute, because, he's pretty far out there. He's made the right calls, obviously, and man, we've hardly talked about him because all the action's been behind him.
Yeah, I mean, he's stuck around there in that P2, just flirting around about 5-6 seconds back of the trash man, but then all of a sudden the spotlight started shining on him, and I bet you, that was one of those things, John, he probably didn't even realize he was the leader for a couple laps. Dan was out there a ways, so probably a nice surprise when he saw that click across the screen or heard the spotter say you're the leader.
Yeah, I guess the headline here will be, because he's got that Dale Earnhardt throwback on there, so you got the man in black dancing with the lady in black here, so it's pretty nice here.
Now, while it is nice, the thing that is blowing my mind, John, there's a Ford logo on it. It's a little weird seeing the Ford logo on it, but hey.
Yeah.
Me being a Mark Martin fan, though, I know the deal. I have a couple Mark Martin throwback paints on the Chevrolet. You can't win them all. I'm a Chevy guy at heart.
Yeah, back in the day, guys used to get in each other's cars every now and again and shake them down and things like that. So I know, I can't remember who it was, but I almost want to say it might have been Bill Elliott or somebody like that, or maybe even Mark. But Dale climbed in actually climbed into a Ford to take some laps in it way back in the late 80s, I think. In a closed session, obviously, but he did wheel one. I'm pretty sure of it.
And back in the days when you were actually allowed to test, nowadays,
yeah.
Man, you barely get any practice, anything. They just make them go race.
I don't know. I kind of like that, actually.
I do too, but man, obviously we're not going to see it on the sim, but those smaller market teams, I just think it hurts them so much. Obviously it saves them money with tire, expenses, stuff like that. But man, John, you were a racer there for a long time. Nothing's more valuable than being in the car and getting some of that seat time.
Yeah, and that's also why I kind of like it, though, is because I always felt like I was better prepared when I got to the track. I always felt like, even experience-wise, you get there. So, Denny Hamlin won here today, experience. So I just think that I like that where the little practice time, I think, benefits the better drivers. I understand that you get a little bit more technical stuff, more time in the sim, more aero from the wind tunnels and all that kind of stuff on those bigger teams. But I'll be honest with you, the drivers not getting that practice time does separate those guys a bit.
Now, pretty interesting. You know, I know these final 10 laps we'll be talking about the leaders here, but Jerry Isaacs, he's up to 7th, John. He was on that 2-stop strategy. While he's a lap down, he is the lucky dog, so possibly could get back on the lead lap. But very impressed. You know, it shows he's got a lot of quick pace in that race car. You know, to do the 2-stop strategy and still be in the top 10, I would have never guessed someone could pull that off. That's a pretty good run.
Yeah, especially without cautions.
Yeah, no kidding. No help from the caution, just doing it all on his own. And now all alone out front. The 11 of Tom Ogle here. We've got 10 laps to go. You gotta be thinking he is just hoping this thing stays green. I mean, he is out to a 14.5-second lead over Josh Robinson, and Dwayne MacArthur pretty comfortably in P3. He's extended the gap from Kotska. Seems like the whole way back even to Weininger, John. Top 5, they're pretty much as is unless we get some big shakeup.
Yeah, like a caution, and that'd be really interesting who pits. I would almost think at 8 to go, I think you almost would have to pit, because if 3rd or 4th pits, you're just toast. But you look how many guys are on the lead lap, new set of rubber starting 6, P6. You know what? You might be able to rectify that in a few laps here, but they are ticking away.
Yeah, definitely. I think even green, white checkers scenario, I just think we've been out here for so long that if we would get a caution, you got to come down pit road, and boy, there's some
almost had it in front of the leader.
Yes, we did. Going to get to the inside, though, let Mr. Ogle by. And, man, Tom, he's going to have to slow that heartbeat down here. Still got a couple more laps to go.
Yeah, for as big of a lead as he has, I don't know if I'd be too keen on trying to get up there and put these guys another lap down. He's got 14 seconds. I would just stay right behind those guys and ride, but not Tom. He's going for it.
Absolutely not. Right
Power
to the outside. Oh, my gosh. Power move. This is all with a 14-second lead with 6 laps to go. But, man, I tell you, I said it before, John. These good guys, man, the ones that are fast, you can't turn it off. You want to go all the time.
And Tom, his credit, and this is what bites me, I would have stayed back there and probably sat behind him, which means I would have had to recalculate my rhythm. But, you know, when you get out of your rhythm, even for a lap or two, that's where mistakes can happen. So if he just kind of keeps doing what he's doing, there's really no recalculations or anything like that. Sometimes that limits your mistakes.
6 laps to go here as he inches closer to some more lap traffic, but not as much of a speed differential there as the last one. And not in a super hurry to make the, well, as I say that, he drifts low there, looking to maybe say, hey,
he got loose
off
the corner.
Move.
He had to go down he had to go down and catch that car.
These guys pushing the race car that hard with 14-second leads blows my mind, but just trying to get every single thing out of this he can. And Tom Ogle, man, what a run. I mean, John, we didn't really get to see if he was going to be able to run down Daniel. I mean, he ran 3rd place for the longest time, got into P2, started to eat at the gap, and, well, Daniel, sadly, the power issues. But, man, Tom, I don't think, you can glimmer this, or, brighten down this win. This is still a good run. I mean, he's had great pace.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's made the right calls, has had good pace. So, yeah, no, he earned this, 100%.
Puts a couple more people a lap down. 3 laps to play at the Darlington Raceway. We are about 1 minute and 30 seconds here from crowning another 2-time winner. And Tom Ogle showing his stuff here, John. We haven't talked about it, but when we go to the playoffs, this is race number 1. So how much does it mean here to come in and just kind of, stomp on the rest of the field like this, really flex your muscles?
You start the playoffs with, a little bit of sway and swagger coming into that race, and that's always a good thing.
6 more corners to go here as we roll through 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, he inches closer to Dave Matson, who Dave right up the road is in 6th place. So another race here where we've had a long green flag run. Some guys hit the nail on the head, some didn't, and the white flag in the air, John. One more lap to go.
Yeah, and again, pit strategy, I think, played a big part in this. I mean, that's where this thing all got stretched out. So, yeah, he made the right calls. Pitted at the exact right time.
Came in right at lap 72, 3 laps before Josh Robinson, and already had the lead on him, but it helped him open that up a little more while Josh got stuck in traffic. They roll off a 4 for the final time. Checkered flag waves and back-to-back wins for Tom Ogle in the 11. Josh Robinson bringing home P2. MacArthur 3rd as Kotska rolls through 3 and 4. Is he already back? No, he crossed the line. He's in at P4. Weininger 5th, and Dave Matson, John, we normally only do the top 5, but 6 cars on the lead lap. Dave, your final lead car, 140 green flag laps at South Carolina. I mean, did you think this was possible at Darlington?
No, but these guys, this group, Zach, we really shouldn't be all that surprised here. So, tip of the cap to these guys and their talent. What a fun race that was to watch here.
Yeah, and normally we have a caution or two. These guys are amazing, but normally we get some time to wet that whistle and catch our breath. But now we need to, and I think these drivers need to as well here. So we're going to step away for a couple minutes on the Virtual Grip Network, but we'll be right back with interviews from your top 3 and your final rundown. Stick around. We are back live on the Virtual Grip Network, and man, I don't, using the same lingo, but the broken record, 140 laps, green flag. I mean, you're not privy to our conversations, but you go ahead, click on an iRacing Pro Series race one time, see if they go 140 laps at Darlington, green flag. This league absolutely sets the bar higher every single week, and man, what an impressive show. Let's take a look here at the final finishing order. Tom Ogle, back-to-back, man, gets it done here in the Dale Earnhardt scheme at the Lady in Black. Congratulations to Ogle on taking the checkered flag. Josh Robinson, P2. Dwayne MacArthur, 3rd. Kotska, Andrew, coming home 4th. Daryl Weininger, 5th. Dave Matson, 6th. Jerry Isaacs, 7th. Chris Walsh, 8th. Andy Thomas, 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Roger Hurley.
Coming home 11th is Don Easterlin. 12th will be Bob Fellenbaum. 13th will be Sean Foltz. 14th will be Alan Wademaker. Brian Lynch will be 15th, followed by Bruce Pearson and Eddie Jones. 18th will be Lloyd Moore. James Hillsop is 19th, and Scott Negus will round out your top 20.
Kelvin Monsieur coming home in the blackjack spot. Brian Lindsay, 22nd. Luke Lane, 23rd. John Hastings, 24th. And Mark Fish rounding out the top 25. Fred Wolford, the 3rd, 26th. Bill Martin, 27th. 28th, Lee Wursdale. Not 29th, the boss man, Victor Lane. And rounding out the top 30, Mark Schrader. My man, John's got it from here.
Robert Grisco brings home 31st, followed by Michael Everhart, Clay Walker, Courtney Nelson. Tough luck for Courtney tonight. Is going to have a 34th place finish to show for a lot of speed. And then the other tough luck right behind him, finishing 35th. Led a lot of laps early. We hope all is well with Daniel. Lost power, but like I said, that's an engine. We'll call that an engine expiration there for him. Finishes 35th, like I said. Then Tom Massey rounds out your field.
Yeah, and while that's tough for Daniel, you touched on it there, John, in the race. Already locked into the playoffs, that name yellow, so he can just brush this off and, like you said, just chalk it up to the motor. But let's go ahead. Let's interview our 3rd place finisher here in the number 83, Dwayne MacArthur. Hey, man, Shaggy up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
I'll tell you what, Dwayne, you had some pace, it looked like, in that first run, but maybe did you drive it a little too hard too early? It seemed like before that first pit stop you made, it just kind of was falling off, and Tom was able to really open up that gap.
Yeah, I think so. I Brown Derby Camaro here. I overdrove it a little bit. Was constantly defending against the pick in lap traffic, and I think I burnt it up a little. And then I probably got a little too comfortable and started trying to save tires when I shouldn't have. But it's been a long time since I've been at Darlington, and I was just searching around for the pace most of the race.
Obviously, man, you got to kind of fuel the race car as you go. But coming into tonight, we did see some drivers cut this into thirds and do 2 pit stops. Jerry Isaacs finished 7th doing that strategy. Was there any thought coming into tonight at a 2-stopper? Or the whole time were you thinking if this thing goes green, 1 stop, 1 stop, 1 stop? What was the attitude?
Yeah, I think it was pretty close to a 50-50. A bunch of my teammates, I think Eddie and maybe Brian and Clay, they all ran that strategy. And, with that much fall off, you could really do it. I tend to run good on the long run, so I'd prefer to not have to hustle through traffic in Darlington here. That's kind of the X factor, I think. If with no other cars on the track, 2 stops is faster, but the amount of passing you have to do, it kind of nets out.
I mean, obviously, Dwayne, you can't take all the credit for this, but 140 green flag laps at Darlington. Did you think that this was possible even with this amazing group of drivers we have? I mean, dude, that is impressive.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was possible. I've seen these guys do it a whole bunch of times. Darlington gives you a little bit of grace on the cautions too if you slide down by the wall. So it's probably just about everybody's strategy that this league can run this track green. That being said, the way the car was handling off the 2, I'm surprised that one or two people didn't spin it around.
Well, a big P3 finish, but Dwayne, we're coming back here one more time for the first round of the playoffs. When do we expect you to lock yourself in? You've been up near the top, so many races. Where's your wheelhouse? What track do we expect you to lock yourself in at?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm there yet after my my hiatus. This is normally the track where I would lock myself in. Historically, typically win quite a bit at Darlington. I'm still trying to get my sea legs under me after my long absence, and if I'm not locked in by the time we come back, I'll come get it here next time.
Well, hey, man, if you don't have the legs yet, everybody better watch the heck out, because, Dwayne, you put on a show every time you're out on that racetrack. Constant good finishes, and, man, it's only a matter of time before you click one off and end up on the top step. But heck of a run. Congratulations on the P3, man. You got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, you bet. Just first off, quick thank you to our league sponsors, YesterYear Racing, Victory Lane Sports, Caillou Glass, Top Flight Sim Racing, and a big shout out to you guys. Thanks to Victor and all the admins that run the league. Since I've been away, it's been real nice to come back and see this league running better than ever. And all the racers out there, they put on a hell of a job. Of course, my wife, and for letting me do this and taking care of whatever was going on around the house while I'm running around in my little race car. So, and a big shout out to you guys. You guys do a great job with the broadcast. Really enjoy watching them back, and people I know that are watching them are really enjoying them as well.
Hey, we appreciate that, Dwayne, and man, I'm glad you thanked the missus there. I forgot that one time, and boy, it didn't go over good. So always got to make sure to thank the missus, man. They're the ones that run the house. But congratulations, Dwayne. We're glad you're back running here with the OBRL, man. We hope you stick around for the whole season. Did phenomenal tonight. Great run. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Yeah, you bet. I think I'll be back in the Cup Series. I came back to run Xfinity and ARCA, but I think I'm going to run this Cup Series too. So I think I'll be sticking around and try to chase those fast guys down.
Let's do it, man. We'll be here to watch the show. Congratulations.
Thanks, buddy.
Now we're going to talk to the man who finished P2 here, driver of the 23, Josh Robinson. John, I think you got him.
I do, but I want to say one thing about Dwayne there. He's going to pick up that win long before we get back here to Darlington, just my prediction. But yeah, I am with Josh Robinson here in the 23 Micro Center machine. And Josh, runner-up tonight, and I saw a couple things that, I've seen you do in the past that worked out. Today, I think everybody kind of did your overcut. What more did you need to kind of track down that 11 car?
Oh, he opened up such a lead by not only pitting a couple laps before I did, but just he did a really nice job of navigating traffic, and just he ran harder at the beginning of the race than I did, and that seems like it paid immediate dividends. So I don't think I was catching him. And even if I got there, it's such a hard place to pass that it's like a dog barking at a car. You chase it and you get to it, and what do?
Yeah, the track.
I'm gonna steal that, Josh. Thank you.
The track is a very narrow track. I mean, it's almost like the Monaco of the NASCAR tracks, because you about really honestly got a lane and a half. I know there's 2 lanes out there, but you honestly only get a lap and a half. The one question I have for you, you spent a lot of time behind that 83 machine. As soon as you got around them, you opened up a gap almost immediately. I mean, it took you like 2 laps. You had a second lead on them. I think both times that you got around them. Was it that hard to pass, or were you kind of content running there and saving your stuff for a little while? And do you think if you would have made those moves quicker, then would you think you might have gotten a little closer to the 11?
I don't know. Dwayne's really good here, so it might. What happened tonight was, I got in front of him and then opened up a little bit of a lead, but what Dwayne's pace did was it also helped me save my tires, so it's very possible that even if I did get in front of him earlier, that I could have just fell right back and had the results reversed here.
Gotcha. Well, the other thing too I saw along your way here of your race here tonight is you and that 40 car, seemed to have a little battle there pretty good. Koska was all over you. How hard was it holding him back?
It was extremely hard. He was getting some really good runs, and then we would get side by side. And most tracks running side by side is a lot of fun. Man, is it really nervous to be side by side here? But Andrew does a really good job of holding his line, and that's what it takes to do that here. Is you can do it, but only when the both cars are holding their line. And man, that was
Looked
very
intense.
sketchy at a turn 2.
Yeah, it looked incredibly intense. I think you guys actually got into each other a little bit coming out of 4 one time too, and but it was fun to watch. All right, well, hey, last question I'm going to have for you is 140 laps, green flag. How big of a drink of water did you take when this was done?
Pretty big. It was. Oh man, I think sometimes you push on your shoulder a little bit when you're in the car, and my shoulder was a little sore afterwards. But you do not anticipate running 140 green flag laps here. Usually we get a caution or 2, but the guys did a phenomenal job tonight. So even though it's not typical to run that many green flag laps here at Darlington, I'm not surprised with this group of guys.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I think I said that a little earlier about this. So, hey, congratulations. Next week we go to Bristol. How you feeling about Bristol?
Bristol's a fun track. The 2 guys that were running really well tonight with Dan, who that's really unfortunate. He ended up losing power, and then Tom. Both those guys are really good at Bristol, so I think you'll see a little bit of the same. But then
maybe.
It's Bristol, so
Well, I tell you what, Zach's going to talk to Tom here in just a second. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Shout out to you guys for putting on a great product. Shout out to everyone that came out and 140 green flag laps. Again, I'm going to say it is impressive. So, shout out to everyone that was on the track. Shout out to our sponsor in YesterYear Racing, and then good racing with Dwayne and Andrew there. That was just a good time.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. We look forward to seeing you at Bristol.
Have a good one, guys.
Yep, that's Josh Robinson, our second place finisher, and Zach, you got the guy that's now gone back to back, Mr. Tom Ogle.
No kidding. Back to back at the Lady in Black. Tom Ogle, man. Did you think we stood a chance here when we rolled into Darlington at going back to back?
I'm okay at Darlington. I'm not good. Usually Josh, Dwayne, and Dan obviously is good. It was good luck. I mean, it was terrible luck for him. I kind of lucked into the win with him disconnecting. He was more aggressive with lap traffic than I was comfortable being. So I'm not sure what would have happened with that. And we had a pit stop, but if he stays patient, runs his line and stuff, I don't think I could have caught him. But I guess I'll take a win.
Yeah, I mean, you were in this thing, Tom. I mean, drove your tail off, and you could say maybe a little less aggressive going through traffic. When you go back and watch this thing, you have me and John fooled, because with about 10 to go, man, you got a 14-second lead. You got about 6 lap cars in front of you. One of them almost wrecks, and what do? Go to the high side and drive by 2 of them, man. I mean, what kind of confidence does it take here at that racetrack to do that when you know you got a big cushion behind you with not a lot of time left?
It didn't look like that terrible to me. You know what I mean? Like, I just kind of I was picking my spots, and then some guys were letting me go in 1 and 2, and they went low, and that was terrifying, because coming off of 2 there, I was trying not to knock the wall down, but it's so hard to get out of the way there. You can't get frustrated with lap traffic, because everybody's doing all they can just to drive the track, and guys in the league have really good track awareness, so nobody's blocking you or anything. Just, I mean, the closing ratio on tire difference is crazy also, so I mean, you just got to be patient, and you can pick your way through. But I had some moments, and it wasn't me, but guys in front of me almost wrecking,
Oh, yeah, trust me, we were riding off your front nose. We saw a couple of them guys bouncing off that wall, maybe collecting the guy below. And, I mean, you're having to bob and weave your way through that thing. It was not an easy run for you, Tom. But, Josh threw you under the bus here, so you can't lie to us. We're coming into Bristol next week, and we heard you're one of the top dogs there, man. Can you maybe pull a three-peat here when we roll into Tennessee next week?
I love Bristol. I run really well there. I can manage the race there really well. I save my tires well. That's about my best track. So if ever there was a place where I'm confident going in, it's Bristol. I love short tracks, so that's it's sort of a short track, but.
Okay, so you're talking managing tires. Can I read between the lines here? Is this another race next week, Tom, where we try to one-stop this thing, milk it as long as we can, if we can?
I bet we'll have cautions. I doubt if it's going to be an option. At Bristol.
After watching you guys, I might take that bet. I don't know if we're going to have any cautions, Tom. 140 laps at Darlington's pretty hard, man.
I know. The thing about Bristol is, like, let's say somebody does pit. The closing ratio, you go from running 19 to 15 seconds, and guys run into the corner real hard, and you get jacked up and stuff. So I'm hoping we have cautions. I don't want to have to pit under green at Bristol and then wait for somebody to overcut and catch a caution. Or let's just have like a halfway. Let's cut it into thirds. Get a caution on each. Almost like some stage racing would be nice.
Hey, man, well, I'm up in the booth. You guys are in charge of that. You'll have to set that pace out there next weekend. But tonight, Tom, all about you, brother. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
15 and a half seconds over the defending champion.
That was traffic, and I think Dan had that one in the bag because he's really good there and patient. So I got lucky. Him disconnecting was unfortunate, but I'm looking forward to Tuesday night's modified race also with our league sponsor, so it's a good week.
Well, hey, man, we'll be rooting you on, Tom, but congratulations on the big win, brother. Before you get out of here, you're probably getting used to this by now, but you got anybody you want to thank?
I want to thank my teammates, Josh, Dan, Brian Lynch, Mark Fish, and thank the admins for all the work they put in to keep the league running and all the money that they spend to keep the league running. And I want to thank all the other racers for racing clean and those guys that were lap traffic or off the pace. That's a hard track. It takes a ton of courage just to come out there and run and learn the track. So I was glad to see so many guys come out.
Well, hey, congratulations on the big win, Tom. And before you get out of here, heck of a paint job, man. We absolutely love that thing. That was
finally
phenomenal.
Somebody liked it. You wouldn't believe the guff I got from those guys for that paint. It's like
wait a minute.
Earnhardt.
Yeah, but was it because you're driving a Ford, or is it just because you pulled the paint out?
It could be the White Claw, honestly. It did upset some guys. Could be the White Claw instead of Goodwrench on it.
Well, you had the man in black at the lady in black. That's what
there you go.
You had the man in black at the lady in black, and it was a perfect combination.
Yep, exactly. All right, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, Tom. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Yep, thank you.
Tom Ogle, man, bringing home the checkered flag back to back. And, maybe he needs to go crack open one of those White Claws, John. 140 laps. That'll work on the nerves, especially when you're working through lap traffic the way he was. But, man, we've talked about it countless times. 140 laps, nothing. I mean, John, what more can be said about that? I mean, you can't do better than 140 laps green flag.
You really can't. And really impressive by all those guys. And just, again, I'm going to shake my head. And these guys, you said it, Bristol next week. We can never count on cautions. I think right now, from here on in, any race has a potential of going caution-free.
No, you're exactly right. And, you just touched on it a little bit, but let's pull up the cheat sheet here. Let's look at what's coming up next. And, well, you've heard us talk to all the drivers. We're rolling into Bristol, the half-miler, high bank. John, if you have somebody on your checklist, you mentioned it a little bit. Now's the time where maybe you have a little oopsie next week.
Yep, that's going to be your opportunity. But these guys all respect each other. This is just not a group that I see that happening.
And, well, coming up next for the Virtual Grip Network, we've got the MVRL ARCA Series. And, John, we're in that league. I think you're going to see me out there on the racetrack Monday night. Are you going to come take the green flag?
I have every intention of being there, so that's what I'll say. Just fortunately with my job, sometimes I get caught up a little late at work, so we'll have to see, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. But yeah, I definitely want to be there.
Yeah, looking forward to it. That's going to be at the Phoenix Raceway at 9:30. But man, we got to wrap up this wonderful evening we had here with the OBRL YesterYear Racing Cup Series. And on behalf of everyone at the Virtual Grip Network, we'd like to thank you, my partner John Hine, the dude in the back, Ryan Seneker. Have a good night.